Is the Pixel lineup under threat? Well, if the hysteria around some news we exclusively broke last week is to be believed, then potentially yes, but we're a little skeptical, and we're going to get into why. Hey you, yes you, have you thought about hitting subscribe? I mean, you don't have to, but it helps me out and you get some nice stuff out of it too, hopefully videos like this. Go on, be a legend, join the crew, and become part of a growing movement. So here's the skinny. Last year, the teams responsible for Pixel hardware and Android software were merged into one division. That's good for consistency, at least in our book. There's less differentiation between Android and Pixel, and so the hardware team and the software team are therefore working in synergy to make better and better smartphones and associated devices. Towards the end of last week though, Google dropped a bombshell by announcing that the company is offering a voluntary exit program for employees working on the new platforms and devices group, and this is where some of the concerns started to be raised. This email was sent out by none other than Big Rick Osterloh, and it was confirmed to us here at 9to5 Google that this was going to happen. We've not seen the email, but it was confirmed. That's basically all you need to know. A little bit of background though, as separately, software and hardware were already two substantially large organizations within Google, with some overlap due to the nature of designing software for hardware and hardware for specific software. Just take a look at Google's hardware product portfolio growth over the past 4 years to get an indication of what I mean here. We have Pixel phones, Pixel earbuds, Pixel watches, Pixel tablet, Pixel folds, and that's just the core lineup. It technically expands out to Nest and all that jazz, but for my own personal reading, this realistically only applies specifically to Pixel. The merger has been touted as a way to speed things up, like AI integration with Android, which we haven't seen as yet as part of the Android 16 beta phase, but one of the biggest or probably biggest effects most smartphone fans could effectively be seeing here is the bridging of the gap between the Android team and the Pixel team. In essence, having less separation between these two is likely, or at least hopefully, going to lead to better products, and we end up with less problems, which something is that is often leveled at the Pixel series in general. That's the theory, at least the theory of this entire move and this entire merger, but Google isn't the best at being particularly streamlined, as we've seen over the years with numerous failed messaging applications, as on top of that, products and services that get cut with seemingly no warning, and just a general confusion on what things these products and new releases aim to solve. I could go off on this all day, but it's as frustrating as it is more or less long-winded, but I'm not going to get into it. To give you an indication, that's the background, merger done and out of the way, and now that things have started to settle in recent months, employees, at least in theory, have a better idea of what their roles within this new streamlined platform and devices division will be. Osterloh actually said Google has received questions though about the possibility of voluntary exits since the Pixel Android merger. Not offering people the option to leave in advance was actually a complaint, or at least complained about, by how Google handled past layoffs. We've seen a lot of cutting of cloth within the entire tech industry over the past few years. There are tons of reasons for layoffs, including pandemic overstaffing, economic slowdown, and the future concerns over economic instability. Even AI has had a drastic effect on development resources and development processes. It's not one direct thing, and you don't need me to tell you that it's complicated, and some reasons can seem flimsy from the outside looking in. But what does voluntary exit mean in regards to this particular news? Well, I think the idea is because of this merger, there are lots of roles that now have greater overlap, and there's likely some congestion in the teams behind specific areas. The original memo that was sent out frames the exit program as being beneficial for those who might not be aligned or passionate about the new combined organization's mission, or they're having difficulty with their roles and hybrid working environments. Google has not specified any plans over the past year though to enforce a 5-day office return, so you could understand why a hybrid working environment where you maybe need some in-person or actual attendance for this new division might not suit all members of this newly merged team. It's also worth noting that if people are not, in air quotes, passionate about working with more areas within the portfolio, you can understand them not wanting to continue working in this division. Being cynical for a second though, Google's framing of wanting employees to be, quote, deeply committed to our mission and focused on building great products with speed and efficiency, end quote, definitely sounds like it's a straight out of the playbook of many questionable small business owners, and I don't necessarily like the sound of that. You can see the full statement Google provided to us on screen now and critique it as you see fit. Luckily though, anyone that does accept the terms of voluntary leave will get a severance package and more that we are actually not privy to, at least at this time. So those that choose to leave, or at least they do at least have a safety net should they choose that exit option. It doesn't feel like from a consumer perspective any of these changes are yet to be felt, from what we've learned, this program does not actually coincide with any product roadmap changes, so while on the surface it initially seems like a bad sign, it might not have any negative impact on future releases or current work on the Pixel series and Android itself. What's more, this only appears to be affecting US-based teams, at least for now. The Pixel team spans basically all continents now and is still hiring across the globe, and there's around about 70 plus job listings on Google's careers site as of this video going live, so it doesn't seem like hiring is something but slowed down or being cancelled entirely. I don't think anyone really needs to worry about the Pixel lineup disappearing anytime soon, put it that way. Just look at the massive marketing campaigns that seemingly get bigger and bigger every single year with each new release. The Pixel lineup actually sponsors Liverpool, Arsenal, England, the NBA playoffs, it's the official phone of that, and the NWSL, plus lots of global TV content that you may see in your particular region. We're definitely seeing increased sales year over year in the Pixel lineup. There's wider global availability, which I think is still a bit of a problem. The Pixel 9 itself is actually only available in 32 countries at the moment, the most it has so far, but it wouldn't be a stretch to expect more nations with the Pixel 10. Yes, sales are increasing, but it's worth noting that this is still a drop in the ocean compared to Apple and Samsung, and if Google wants to hang in there, they need to expand their global availability. I do think there is more than enough space in the market for Google to thrive, and while it seems like downsizing the platforms and device group definitely seems like a major concern, it probably isn't going to mean fewer products or a dip in quality. We also have Android XR, which is a brand new actual service or an actual product lineup, which means yet more potential areas we could see Google enter the market with their own first-party hardware, but there's no actual things to indicate that at this time. I think this entire change feels more like a formality rather than corporate casualties, as it were. I'd actually wager that this is potentially going to improve the next few generations of hardware as it's a more streamlined team, and we'll start to see more refined releases, which is often a real criticism people have with Pixel phones in particular. And maybe it means with a smaller, more pinpoint group of people working on the lineup, the intricate details and QA can be improved drastically, as it's a few steps behind the best in the business still, even when we consider that the Pixel 9 lineup has received lots of plaudits and acclaim from across the industry. I do think it's still the first release in a long time that doesn't have any glaring issues. If an updated team behind the next few generations is a lot more closely aligned, less bloated, and at least in theory all pulling in the same direction, that might be a very, very good thing for the Google Pixel series. We're not expecting to notice any changes, at least for a little while, but yeah, don't be concerned, at least for now. From what we can tell, the Pixel, well, it isn't going anywhere. Let me know what you think about this decision and this news down in the comment sections below. I know it's been a few days, but we just wanted to at least let the dust settle before we got into the nitty-gritty details. Personally, I think at least this is a voluntary decision. Nobody's really getting pushed out the door, which has been the case in previous major tech layoffs, and something that I think from the outside looking in definitely left a sour taste. I want to say thanks for watching though, and I will speak to you later.